My name is host Eric, and I'm here to say welcome to Talking with Famous People. Um, I'm the host of Talking with Famous People, and 52-year-old man, a guy who woke up not that long ago. Woke up after a very long night's sleep, like was in bed over 12 hours probably, and it was it was a rather angry night's sleep actually. I had a lot of dreams in which I was angry. Various things being unreasonably difficult, people being unnecessarily uh, contrary and or not listening to me or whatever. I woke up mad multiple occasions during the night. Uh, I was in such a mad mood that I even woke up one time mad at Rachel, which I don't normally ever feel mad at Rachel at all, because there was a piece of chip in the bed. And I was like, Rachel, god damn it, why did you eat chips in bed? Of course, she and I mostly spent the night in separate beds. I started off in bed downstairs. She went upstairs to her room. And I went upstairs to her room. She went down to bed. And then uh, I went back down to bed, and she went back down to her. She went back into her room. So last night was a sleepapalooza of extreme strength. Anyhow, death. Well, I've been watching lots of stuff on TV, but in particular, Only Murders in the Building. I've been watching not only the new season of it, but I started rewatching the older seasons of it. Meow. And it's just, it's a fascinating topic. Like in season one, they have the dead guy, Tim Kono. They have him appear in various flashback scenes. He's alive at the beginning of the show, you know. And in the second season, you got this character, Bunny, who played a fairly large role in season one, and she's killed off at the beginning of season two. And, you know, it's like shows, narratives, storylines, and such allow us to experience a miniature form of death. So, Bunny may be a central figure in season two. I'm sure we'll see her in flashbacks and stuff. But we aren't going to see either her or Tim Kono in season three. Because they're both dead in that universe, you know? And of course, mortality is both what gives life meaning, namely the ticking clock, and you've got a limited amount of time to create as much meaning as you can, which is how I interpret our purpose basically, is to create meaning. But for every single person on the planet, it's the most compelling thing. It's the distinguishing quality of being human, and awareness of one's own eventual mortality. If you were to think of it like that, then the Cyclops would be most human of all, as they know ahead of time the exact location and circumstances of their death, though not necessarily the time. Good morning, cat down the road. If that's a picture of you, then you are not the cat down the road for me. The cat down the road for me is black and white. He likes to hang out down by our shed. I want to shoo him away because I want to make sure we don't accidentally end up with a third cat, you know? I just discovered a really dark psyche black hole to deep dive into, one that I had been woefully uneducated about. And what is that, Boba Fett? Something sad? Don't bother deep diving it then. Sad things don't deserve that much attention. It's like anger is so much more productive in emotion than sadness, right? Changing the subject slightly from narcissism and death, I would like to say that I hereby affirm the following claim: 2 cats is the right amount of cats to have. It's so much more than arrogant people who don't care for others than themselves, is it? Yeah, I mean, it is, in the sense that at its core, it's accountability avoidance syndrome. They lack that part of being human that lets them be not just they who criticize, but they who are criticized and grow from critique, you know? Because in some way, their parents ruined for them constructive criticism. And that is really the engine of all the dark triad shit is accountability avoidance syndrome. They've had ruined for them the capacity to grow from constructive criticism, to make themselves vulnerable by acknowledging they were wrong and that they're going to try to do better. In other words, they've been denied by how they were parented the capacity to engage in being forgiven for sin. Because forgiveness comes after repentance, right? And repenting requires you to acknowledge you were wrong and resolve to sin no more, you know? It's a 2 cat world. I just think 2 cats is the right number. We have one boy cat, one girl cat, and they don't get along very well. I would hate to have another cat. You know, probably both of our cats would prefer to be one cats. But 2 cats seems the right number of cats because it provides much more like a 70s family sitcom Brady Bunch kind of feel to the house, you know? To have 2 cats. It's like that song says, our house is a very, very, very nice house with 2 cats in the yard. Not just one cat, not 3 cats. Just like the ideal nuclear family for television purposes has 3 kids because your 5 kid dynamic works better than, 5 person dynamic as a family for TV works better than 4. But it could have 2 kids. Well, same with cats, except instead of 3 or 2, it's 2 or 1. You can get by with 1 cat, you know. I could see us being fine with just one of these cats. Either one would be probably happier because Trouble is such a selfish and also jealous cat. Jealous is really the word I was looking for. He wants to deny Capillo any and all access to us to the extent that he can. Like, we're his people, and we cannot be nice to Capillo. Even though Capillo was here first, and Capillo's been my cat for a lot longer. Did you have an experience with? Oh yeah, you had a personal experience that informed your intuition more. Yeah, well, basically, if you do that, you're escalating on the grounds of justice, but they don't escalate like that. It's like I thought about it crossed my mind. Not that I was ever going to do it, but it crossed my mind to send some sort of snarky email to Michelle Shocked, right? Like, where's all your bravery? Um, but I don't want to escalate with a crazy person. It's a bad idea. It's like they're crazier than you are, and they escalate without any reference to any kind of righteousness or moral high ground. So it's generally a good idea just to get away from them. You're not going to win that battle, probably. They're more willing to go down in flames than you are, and they should be. You know. Okay. Well, maybe I'm a little guilty as charged. Okay, Boba Fett. I'm not going to deny it. I'm a little bit guilty as charged here. I'm not going to deny it because I'm not a narcissist. I have said, I mean, that's horrible. Let's not bring up really depressing things like that. I just want to. Can we not? Can we not pollute my emotional landscape with horrible things? Let's not do that. Okay, I'm talking about death. Death is something that's universal that happens to everybody. Okay, I'm I'm talking about death at 85 or 90. Okay, let's talk about that kind of death. That's the kind of death I'm envisioning for myself, not something premature in any way. And when we talk about death as a nice abstract thing, without discussing any particular deaths or any kinds of deaths, then it's kind of informative. It's like just about every story that I watch, see, understand, or whatever. I just say a lot of anime and a lot of TV and movies and stuff. Which very often death is involved as an element of the narrative. Yeah, we're gonna stay away from the FI parts of death here. Okay, we're just gonna discuss it in the abstract. I'm with Winston's mom. I don't want to get near any FI shit. So, like season 2 begins with Mabel like clutching Bunny to her chest and getting this really bloody white sweater, and she finds her dead body, but she's initially a suspect. But like that's the sort of thing that could be theoretically triggering to me. But even though it prompted memories in me, I don't find those memories especially dark or troubling because death itself isn't inherently a bad thing. It's just horrible, premature deaths that are horrible, right? Like the thing Cat down the road said made me very is very disturbing to me right now. It's causing me lots of disturbance. Even worse. Even worse. I'm very troubled by awfulness. It's okay. I understand it was certainly relevant to the topic. I put it as the topic of the live stream. I can't complain when you say something totally relevant. It just happens to be it happens to be very disturbing to me. But that's what I get for putting an inherently disturbing uh, topic up, I guess, because it is a disturbing topic. Everybody's afraid of death. Everybody in their right mind, anyway, is afraid of death. Nobody wants to stop carrying on. Nobody's ready for the song to end, you know. But that's what makes it so compelling, I guess, is the fact that at some point it will. At least that's what they tell us. I'm not entirely sure I believe that's going to apply to me, but we'll find out, I guess. I hope not. So, changing the subject from death, which is very depressing, I will tell you about something that instead is very annoying. I'm supposed to read this book to help Jeffrey with his whatever. And it's a horrible, horrible book. I barely started it, but I can already tell. I'm going to go get it so we can read a little bit of it and find out together just how horrible it is. Okay. It's this horrible book called The Lies That Bind, Rethinking Identity. Let's go to chapter 1. Until the middle of the 20th century, no one who was asked about a person's identity would have mentioned race, sex, class, nationality, region, or religion. When George Eliot writes in Middlemarch that Rosamund was almost losing the sense of her identity, it's because Rosamund is faced with profoundly new experiences when she learns that Will Laidslaw, the man she thinks she loves, is hopefully devoted to somebody else. Identity here is utterly particular and personal. The identities we think of today, on the other hand, are shared often with millions or billions of others. They are social. What a complete waste of time. What a complete waste of time. I can't read this horrible thing. There's nothing to be said about this book except it digs deep into a pile of shit. The questions of identity have already been well established, the answers, and they're very straightforward. An individual's identity is an individual identity. Whatever other group labels they may affirm or choose to attach to their own identity is their business. The problem comes when other people attach identity labels by groups as per their understanding and expect individuals to adhere to those labels. Is that straightforward? You don't need to write a whole book to say that, for fuck's sake. Have some fucking sense. It's like all you need to do is think properly and you don't have any fucking problem with the question. Instead, you get this idiot writing this book full of big words about nothing. I don't even know what his fucking thesis is. He doesn't even know what his thesis is. I skimmed through like 12, 15 pages of it or whatever, and I still have no idea what his fucking thesis is. Get a fucking point, motherfucker. I can't read that garbage. You've got to be kidding me. I would die of boredom. There's no fucking way I can read that garbage. It's horrible. Like, who cares? Like, look, listen to this shit. Though there are you religious traditions, lots of different ones, being you isn't by contrast religious identity and doesn't come with some sort of specified ethical codes. Yous can be Muslim, Protestant, or Catholic, and many practice the traditional rites that go by the name of voodoo. Like the Haitians, they borrowed the word from the Fon people, who are their neighbors, it means spirit. But all the same, you people sometimes say to themselves, as and you, I should, and go on to specify something they believe they should do or refrain from doing. They do things, in short, because they are you. And this, too, depends in part on their recognition that not everyone is you, and that non-yous may well behave differently. How can I read a whole book of that fucking garbage? Who cares? So those idiots choose to identify themselves as part of a group and confer onto themselves duties accordingly. That happens in all different ways, yes. What's your fucking point? Idiots are idiots? Right? The thought that there is an essence or golden nugget to any of these identities is a 19th century invention. I agree. But why do you need to write a whole book saying what I just said in one sentence, 2 sentences? The point is, race isn't real, obviously. And group identities as defining characteristics of identity are fundamentally bad, and only idiots identify themselves as such and try to behave accordingly. It's all stupid fucking garbage. Is that his point? Well, good for him. He doesn't need to write a whole book to say that. It's not difficult to express that concept. And I especially don't need to hear all this theorizing about how people's relationship with these identity labels represents some broad thing rather than what it actually represents is an attentional manner configuration expressing in certain ways, you know? Trying to take control of one's self-concept, you know? It's all this talk about identity. It's all subsumed by a general notion of self-concept, which is best explained by a combination of particular than cognitive functions, which he has no access to, so how can he possibly be doing anything but pulling random shit out of his ass? Well, Twist Tie Guy finally got his arms. He's been complaining about not having arms for days now. But he finally got them. That's right, I finally got my arms. I've been bugging you guys about them for days. And it turned out there's a twist tie right there. I don't remember exactly where you found it, but it was really close to where I was, and you've just been ignoring it the whole time. Yeah, you got me there, twist tie guy. You can go back here where you live now. Twist tie guy lives right here. It's folk art. It's very expensive folk art. Oh my god. I think this is an authentic twist tie guy by Eric Strauss. Naturally, it's worth millions. There's this guy that just walked by that way. Probably he was at this end of the driveway as I was yelling at that horrible author. That's horrible nonsense. I mean, just a branch of species. It's a random term. It doesn't refer to anything specific. It's just like folksy understandings of skin tone variation. Folksy. That's the nicest term you can use to refer to it. Anyway, I guess I woke up kind of mad like multiple times during the night. I may still be a little bit mad. What am I mad about? Absolutely nothing in particular. Just, I don't know. You know, it's that part of Sleepy Week where my dopamine levels haven't fully recovered. I'm kind of slept out. I need more sleep though, but I can't sleep anymore because I've been in bed for such a long ass time. You might call my state of being fussy. Fussy wouldn't be a poor term for how I feel. That was the day the twist tie guy got arms. This is very weak coffee that I made, but I don't mind that it's weak. I prefer coffee that's too weak over coffee that's too strong. Because I know I'm going to drink more than one cup of it. So, you got to put a lot of creamer in. That's the key. That's the key to a delicious cup of coffee. You got to go crazy with the creamer. You got to be like, just keep scooping it in. This coffee's so weak, it kind of tastes like tea. Let me pull my pants up. These are what are known as fall down pants. And you don't need to write a whole book saying, look, stop thinking of me as something specific. It's wrong. And if you are going to make that point, you need to attack it from the other angle. Like, instead of starting with all your particularized experience, which is all boring, you excise all that boring stuff and you go straight to the point. Race isn't real. There are more genetic differences among self-identifying race members than there are between so-called races. It's a completely arbitrary circle drawing that serves no purpose except to provide poor justifications for bad thinkers to be prejudiced, which is to say prejudged against, certain individuals for absolutely no reason. That's all there is to say about it. You don't need to write a whole book about it. It's very straightforward. I've explained it many, many times in very straightforward fashion. Oh my God, we're all blown away by this book. That's an interesting notion. Listen, small. I don't know what I'm going to say about this book to him, except I don't want to read this. I really, really don't want to read this. It's very slow. Even if it's making correct points, and I'm not sure about that yet because there's no thesis. When you're writing a book like this, you need a fucking thesis. It needs to be organized a certain way. If he's making a case, he needs to make a case. If he's just telling random factoids about different people's identities, oh, just shoot me in the head. I can't read that. How boring. Well, whatever. Maybe I'll read some more of it, even though it's super boring. It's like he's explaining 2 plus 2 to me and taking a whole book to do it is going to be pretty difficult to slog through. When I say that it's lacking NI cohesion, well, I think what he's doing is, although I don't know yet, because like I said, there's no thesis, but I think what he's doing is trying to explain to identity politics people that identity politics ultimately are bullshit. But it's like I'm way ahead of him, right? I already know they're bullshit, and I know all the good reasons why they're bullshit, and it doesn't take any more than one chapter of a book to explain it, at most. So the point isn't about identity itself, it's about how people use identity. There's no good way to use identity. That's what it boils down to. You might indulge in it yourself in non utilitarian ways, like go to a Mexican party where a bunch of Mexicans and they have a bunch of Mexican stuff. Like, I used to end up at those parties because my first wife, her mom was from Michoacan, and her family and household was super Mexican, and the parties were all super Mexican. And so those people were just being themselves in a way that was distinct from what was normal for me. And that was all fine and dandy. Nobody was about, like, right. Well, I. The problem is, Jeffrey had the same problem that I have. We're way ahead of. You can use your identity to collect cats. How many cats do you think is the right number of cats down the road? Because I've posited that 2 is the right number of cats. 1 or 2. Capillo's a good kitty. She's a very sweet kitty, but she's also gets kind of the raw end of the deal around here because Trouble's so jealous and demanding. There's Capillo. There she is. So now you can see Capio. And she is currently licking herself. She's got this bed tucked back here where it's kind of hard for Trouble to get back there. Trouble's over here. Hi, Bubbles. Yes, you're a very handsome man. And those are our two cats. They're inside-outside cats. There's nothing stopping them from going outside at any moment. Because we got it set up so that it's easy for them to go outside. They can just go through the cat door that takes them into the garage, and I leave the side door to the garage cracked, and they can go in that way. And we can still be locked up too, because the inside garage door locks from the inside. So, it's a pretty smart setup really around here for cats. But anyway, they can go outside as much as they want, but they don't want to go outside. They want to just stay inside all the time because they're lazy cats. They're Captain Lazy, and Lady sleeps a lot. Now, I put out woodland cutlets for the friends this morning, woodland friends, but I don't see many woodland friends, not many customers. I don't see any woodland friends, actually. The other day, this big brown dog came and tried to get at them when they were eating their cutlets. Oh, good, I left this open. That way I don't have to walk around. I mean, it's not really good that I left it open, but it's convenient at this moment. I really should try to remember to close the garage door. I don't want anybody to steal my little wilderness car, which according to Cameron, these are easy to steal, these little wilderness cars. So, oh good, my poop is finally working its way down the poop shaft towards my butthole. I've been waiting for this poop all morning, really. By the time I'm done with this cigarette, I'm going to be ready to poop. So anyway, every poop is like a miniature death. You've eaten your food, you've digested it, it's gone through its whole life cycle as food. Started out as being potentially delicious, then actually delicious, then filling you up and being digested, and finally, at the end of its long journey, being pooped out. I tied us back to the topic, you see. I had a thesis, unlike that book. Death fascinates us all. It does fascinate us. It appears in our stories all the time. If it were only robberies in the building, it wouldn't be nearly as compelling a show. only loiterers in the building. Only loiterers in the building would be extremely dull. We got another loiterer downstairs. Somebody better go make him leave. Oh, yeah, this poop is so ready. You want to talk about poop readiness syndrome. That's what I have right now. That's the phenomenon where you're like really need to poop. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced poop readiness syndrome before, but that's what I've got right now. This poop was a bit of a prima donna. It didn't want to start the show on time and hadn't finished eating all the green M&Ms. Oh, oh yeah. Fantastic. When I finally did make the stage though, it had all been worth it. That has to be the biggest poop I've had in a long time. There she blows. It's the white whale. It's the brown whale. Oh, it feels so much better. Perhaps some of what was making me so mad all along was that I had so much poop in my body. I was trying to obey a recent YouTube advice stream I had watched called Retain Your Feces for Good Health. But I think they were probably wrong. Meow. Are you talking to the live stream or to me? Meow. Yes, Daddy knows. And do you know what else Daddy does? Daddy loves. Oh, meow. What a good kid. What an important gentleman. Yes, the importance of your gentlemanhood is astonishing me constantly and all the time forever without stopping. Meow. Oh yes. Daddy knows. And Daddy loves. Oh yes. What a good kitty. What an important feline friend. Oh yes. Your father knows. And he understands. Oh yes. Even though I'm not a knower, still, I know. Well, somebody's feeling light as a bubble. Now, Trevor wants us to watch him eat, so we're going to go watch him eat, and then I'm going to wash my hands in the kitchen. Okay, Mr. Man, we're gonna watch you eat. Yes. Okay. Look, the whole live stream will watch you eat. So you get plenty of attention on you. Yes. Oh, yes. What a good eater you are. Everyone's very impressed by your eating skills. This cat and his insistence that I watch him eat. Sometimes he'll meow at me so angrily, like, how dare you not let me eat? And I'm always like, you can eat, dude. You don't need me to watch you eat. But he seems to think he does need me to watch him eat. Yes, I see you eating, and I'm very impressed. The chewing style that you show is so impressive. And then the way you swallow your food, it's amazing. I'm constantly amazed by your eating skills. I'm assuming this is what he wants me to be telling him when he's eating. Oh, yes. Okay. Sometimes he doesn't want to be fed, you know. He's very persnickety like that. And if you continue to try to pet him when he doesn't want to be pet, he will definitely scratch you. Yes, I'm talking about you. See, trouble really takes to heart the notion that something doesn't exist unless it's observed first. So he wants to make sure his eating counts so it doesn't go to waste. Well, I was going to turn it off, yeah. Is that okay? Have you eaten enough yet? You have to eat so much more all the time. Why do you have to eat so much more? Seems like you've had enough food for an animal your size already. But I guess not. Alright, that's enough watching you eat. I can only watch him eat for so long. Because the truth is, it's just not that exciting watching him eat. I try to make it sound like I'm enthusiastic about it for his benefit, but really I'm just putting on an act for him because I find watching him eat very boring. No, they don't like wet food. Yeah, well, that's one way to make sure I poop is to start streaming, it seems like. Once it starts streaming, then it's usually just a matter of 10 to 15 minutes before I poop. I'm kind of just killing time right now. Yeah, I'm not on any amphetamine, so I'm not feeling especially chatty or anything. It's probably going to be a fairly short stream here. I'm waiting for the Great Cleric to come out, or at least Jujutsu Kaisen, both of which are due out. No, it's not out yet. Both of which are due out today, but aren't out yet. It's pretty annoying. It's been an annoying season on Crunchyroll in general. It's been an annoying season on Crunchyroll because, in part, they don't have that many great shows, new shows this season. But also, even the ones they do have, they keep like skipping weeks and stuff, either because of some sports broadcast that took their time slot in Japan, or because they fucked up and didn't make it out that week or whatever. No, I haven't seen Oppenheimer. But we might still see it. I don't know. We probably will when it comes out on YouTube rental or whatever. we do periodically rent movies. I want to see John Wick 4 rental style because, in part because it's so long. I don't want to sit in the movie theater for that long. I know I'm gonna have to get up and smoke at least one time. Mm. I'll keep that in mind when we watch it. Um, this book. Rachel and I might go down to Los Angeles relatively soon. I need to take some mail down there. See Delilah. We need to deal with our phones and stuff too. I need to give myself a haircut. I got a lot of shit I gotta do. A lot of like two of what are the two of rods? The one with the infinity symbol on it. Paying bills, that kind of stuff. I think it's two of rods. Maybe two of pentacles. I don't know. It's one of those two. It's one of those kind of days. There's some things I gotta deal with. And hopefully I'll deal with some of them today. I don't know. I feel physically a lot better now that poop's out of me. That was a real clogger. It had been there a while, I think. The 6th Street Cinema was built inside an old Masonic lodge and showed the best of independent film in the tiny central California town of Mariposa. The movie theater near us is in Oakhurst. We've been there several times. That's the closest movie theater to us. But it's like we're quite some distance away from anything. So when the power went off like 2 days ago, because yes, the power went off again. It went off twice in the last like week. It's been off twice due to the weather, I guess. And both times we cranked up the generator so we didn't have to worry about our food getting bad or anything in the fridge. And we plugged in the TV and the internet, and we were able to just continue life as normal until it came back on. So that was nice. Makes me glad we got the generator. I'm glad it wasn't just like a one-time thing, and then we never end up using it again. So I'm feeling like a competent resident. Get things rolling anytime the power goes out. Because when the power goes out, you hear a bunch of people firing up generators around here. Everybody's got themselves equipped for power outages, sometimes for long periods of time. And what's cool is um, the DSL never seems to go down, such that if we provide electricity to the modem, then we have internet, no problem, even when we have no electricity from PG&E. So that's good. The landline always works too. It doesn't matter what's going on with the power. The landline works fine. We've never had the landline go down. So, um, Thursday, September 8th, 2011, beginning at about 3:38 p.m. PDT, was the largest power failure in California history. Really? I wonder when that was. I wonder if that was the big windstorm that left me in Temple City without power for like a week. Because the thing is, if you're measuring largeness in terms of number of people affected, well, a big LA power outage is consistent with that notion. The outage was the result of 23 distinct events that occurred on 5 separate power grids in a span of 11 minutes. Wow. So in other words, just a clusterfuck of disaster all happened at the same time, huh? They call me Green Face. Well, we get power outages around here fairly often because I guess we're remote and it's the very end of every conceivable line. So anything that happens down the line from us is going to impact us. Anyhow, Rachel and I are so comfortable just being at home all the time that when we have to go to Boot Jack to get cigarettes, it's like, oh, we gotta go to Boot Jack. We just really like staying home and doing not a whole hell of a lot. Oh yeah, it's fine around here when the lights go out. Although the second time was during the daytime. So it was more an issue of make sure the fridge still has electricity so the food doesn't go bad. Really, what the generator powers is the kitchen. That's all it powers. And if you want to power other stuff, you got to run extension cords from the generator, which is no problem. And what we end up turning on in addition to the kitchen is the lamp in here, the TV, the laptop, and the internet. And then we had a fan going in here too. Because what the generator does not power is the central air conditioning. No, we're propane, so we do need electricity to have the oven work, but that's for the generators for it. It powers the oven, the hood, the trash compactor, which we've never used, the microwave, the refrigerator, the overhead lights in the kitchen, everything in the kitchen. We have oil lamps in other spots, and like lots of spots, right? So we've got an oil lamp in this bathroom here that we used in the winter when the lights were out. This oil lamp. And we've got equivalent oil lamps up the stairs. I don't know if you can see them. There's two of them. Yeah. And up there's another one, yeah, at the top of the stairs. And there's ones in the rooms too. But this past winter, when we might have used those oil lamps, uh, we didn't have any oil for them. But the other day when we were at the store, at the Ace Hardware store, we got oil for the oil lamps. Are we insured? Yeah, I think so. I'm assuming Delilah followed through on all that. I told her to. I gave her the number of the person to call. So hopefully she did that. I mean, you're right about that, Boba Fett. It's generally speaking very much a concern up here in fire country. But the thing is, um, we had fires like 2 of the last 3 summers, not including this summer, but and it burned up much of the fuel around here. There's a lot of burn areas, so it's gonna be a while before we really get a fire risk again, you know. Also, this house is not very flammable. There's nothing wood on this house. It was made in 2000 and it's made all out of like fireproof shit. This house is not going to catch on fire very easy. Also, unlike most of the areas around here, we have water tower water with fire hydrants. Unlike everybody else from the highway all the way back to Mariposa Pines, which is in the very back here, they're all on well water. Well, we have tower water and fire hydrants. And that makes us uniquely savable around here. So that's a good thing. We got a fire hydrant on either side of our house. We also have fire hoses. We have our own fire hoses in the shed down below. So if there's a fire and the firemen aren't here, I can just hook up my fire hose to the fire hydrant. What do you think about that? How fucking crazy is that? If there's a fire and the firemen aren't here yet, I have a fire hose that I can hook up to a fire hydrant near my house. I have all the gear to do it down in the shed. That's nuts. I mean, I would have no idea how to do it. I'd probably just be like, ask the neighbors how to do it or something. I don't know, but it's nice to know you got that shit in case you need it, you know. The guy who built this house was determined because he's also the same guy who put in the water towers and the fire hydrants. And so, of course, he equipped himself with a fire hose. Not a bad idea, Winston-Salem. That's not a bad idea. It doesn't sound like the sort of thing that I normally would be into, but it's not a bad idea. So anyway, the guy who built this house clearly did not want his house to burn down because he built it out of all fireproof materials. Like the walls have metal in them somehow, and he got himself fire hydrants on the side of his house with a fire hose. This house represents like the best they could do in the year 2000. Now, obvs, I wouldn't want fire to blow up our propane tank. If you suddenly needed to grab buckets, how many do I have? More buckets than people. I mean, if I had to grab buckets, the problem wouldn't be bucket shortage, it would be people shortage. The people before us bought kitty litter in those big ass buckets, and they saved the empty ones. So we got a lot of those. And they've got handles. I don't know if you can carry them full of water. I didn't see any Tucker Carlson Trump thing. No. I have an emergency evacuation protocol. There is one generously named 2-lane road coming in and out of Mariposa Pines. One. It goes through burn area. When the people who lived here during the last fires evacuated, that's where you get some of those crazy footages of people driving through this on this 1-lane road with like these burning trees on either side of them trying to get out of here. That's from right here, man. Those videos were filmed right here on in the conservancy, which was fucking all aflame. So we bought here at the cheapest imaginable time. It's like a lot of the forest around here was burned the summer before we bought, you know, and it's why they dropped the price in part. Um, Now we moved in and we got the wettest winter in history, and we're also getting the wettest summer in history. And you know, the forest is coming back and everything's peachy keen. We feel very fortunate to have bought when we did, because also we never been here during the time before it burned, so we don't have any sad memories of how it used to be or whatever, right? This is all just uh, new and new how the wilderness is right now, you know. We also know that it's going to grow back in various ways. We also came in not that long after a big wind event knocked down a bunch of trees. So, um, in that regard, uh, I just NETI my way out of a fire. There's literally nowhere to go except out the one way you can go. We've got a potential advantage in that we have a little wilderness car. If for some reason we are best served to get out by going Heights Cove all the way to Heights Cove, then we could do it in our rural wilderness car, and I'd have to bust out the chainsaw and get ready to chop up any logs in our way and shit like that, you know. Which I've not. I have a chainsaw that I've never used and never brought out of the box that Cameron got for me because I'm scared of it. But I don't want to hurt myself. But I recognize that there may be circumstances where I need to use that chainsaw, and I'm prepared to undertake that area of study, I guess you'd say. Um, I should probably have some familiarity with it before I actually need it, you know? This is a problem I had with the generator. I don't need to be familiar with this thing before I need it, and then it didn't work when I needed it, the original generator. So, you know, life's a bitch and then you die, right? There are two ways to go, right? Like, we could go either out the paved road that way, or we could go out the dirt road that way. That way leads towards Yosemite Park, right? It depends which. There were two main fires that hit this area in 2 consecutive years, or maybe in 2 years out of three, or something like that. I forget what they were called. Well, it usually refers to the spot where it started. So, like, let's say it started at a spot called like Agua Caliente or something, which might refer to like a hot spring. The fire started near there, so they'll name it that. So wherever this fire started was probably named like Agua something. Lake Mia. Yeah, right. But the fire that is more familiar around here is the one that happened more recently, I think, was the Oak Fire. 71-year-old man is arrested for starting the Oak Fire. Huh. Yeah, well, that's the one that got closest to us is the Oak Fire. And if you see videos of people driving on small roads through with trees on fire on both sides of them, those are probably roads that we drive on. That we see currently having burned trees on both sides of them. Well, I do like the idea of having a circular fish tank. Ideally, one that you can stand up, it goes up and down so that you can adjust its height and you can stand there so that your head is in the middle of it. And you can look at all the fish like that. I like that idea of a circular fish tank. But I don't like the idea of it being mine. Because fish tanks require attention, responsibility. You got to change the water. You got to worry about your fish. Who wants that? Nobody. Certainly not me. No, it's on a stand, right? It's on a stand it lets it slide up and down and lock into various places. Everywhere so that you could be 4'10" and it's the right height for your head, or you could be 6'5" and it's the right height for your head. All the way from 4 foot to 7 foot. Alright. And it like stands in a corner of the room, but it's got three sides. It's got like support structure, like metal, like I'm picturing wrought iron kind of support structure poles. On one side, it's open so that you can turn sideways and stand in the middle of it, and then and then you lower it down or raise it up to your head level, and then you can stand there with your head in the middle of a circular fish tank that goes around like this. It's got a hole in the middle. See, it's like an aquarium. It's basically, longer than it is wide, except it's curved so that it makes a circle. The key quality of an aquarium generally is that it's a lot taller and longer than it is wide or deep. Also, it has water in it. That's part of a key part of qualifying as an aquarium, of course, is that you have to have water in you instead of just like sand and rocks and a lizard. Then you qualify as a terrarium, and that's different. Terraria, they don't interest me that much. In general, I'm just not that interested in keeping things in a cage of any sort. Why shouldn't I just attach a VR headset to your face? Well, who says you shouldn't? Maybe you should. If my theory of WX patterns holds, what are WX patterns? Does it stand for winnowy xylophone patterns? I'm curious as to what a winnowy xylophone pattern sounds like. WX is short for weather? Oh. But there's no X in weather. WX is weather, huh? Well, you learn something every day. Today I learned that WX is short for weather. I'm going to say that from now on when I'm saying weather. I'll say, pretty nice WX we've been having, huh? That way people will know that I'm cool and I'm down with the internet slang. I'm going to go stand outside and smoke a cigarette. We're on some pretty great WX right now. Oh my god, this W is so X. It is true. We are having some nice WX right now. I'm going to go enjoy the WX while you guys observe. You watch me enjoy it. That's a lot of sunflower seed shells right there. But you know what? I have the perfect tool for cleaning them up. It's called my brand new Craftsman Shop Vac. It kicks so much butt, it kicks ass. It vacuums like the deepest vacuum in space. It's like high king of vacuuming. I've never had such a good vacuum before. It's an absolute joy to vacuum with. And you know, it wasn't especially expensive. It was under $200, which for a top of the line tool is not that much. I mean, you can't get a good carpet vacuum in the store for less than that. And this is way better than those carpet vacuums. Who needs a carpet vacuum? This Craftsman Shop Vac with an attachment is better than any push carpet vacuum you could get by far. You'd be a fool, I say, to pay more for a Dyson. I'm just saying, as somebody who knows a lot about vacuums, as somebody who's been into vacuums for a long time, who's had a lot of different vacuums, who's repaired vacuums, I like vacuums. Okay? I know I've said the word vacuums probably too many times now, but regardless, I'm a vacuumer. There's nothing closet about it either. I've been out in the open about it for a long time. I like vacuums. I like vacuuming. I even go so far as to say I'd probably vacuum now, but I don't want to bother Rachel if she's still sleeping. I could vacuum downstairs with the house vacuum, which is a great vacuum too, don't get me wrong. But I'm a little enamored right now of my shop vac. And I know like yesterday, even though it was like 3 in the afternoon or whatever, I was annoyed when Rachel got up and started laundry and stuff. I was mildly annoyed for a second. So it made me more cognizant of the fact that it's probably annoying to her when I start making noise in the morning, you know. I don't need to make a lot of noise right now. I'm just inherently kind of noisy, I guess, but I try to be quiet. I try to be mindful, blindful. I try to be as mindful as a minefield full of blindfolds. Which is pretty mindful. I'd like to be mindless. It's kind of my natural state of being to just blithely, mindlessly go through life, just doing whatever, not keeping track of any larger scope things very much. But then it's equally so my nature to fret about that a lot. She's all just wasted energy. Just do it or don't worry about it. One of the two. I was reflecting how it appears anyway that well, remains to be seen for sure. Who knows what this woman will do and ultimately, but it appears as though the Michelle Shock stuff is done and hopefully won't reappear as something to fret about. And that occupied a lot of headspace for a while. Again, needlessly, because had I gotten on it right away, done the research, thought about it quicker. I mean, I don't regret taking my time with something important like that exactly, but it also meant committing a lot of headspace to it. Kind of a tough call as to how to feel about that. Well, it certainly made me cognizant of the risks of copyright violation, accidental or otherwise. That extra force they keep talking about in physics is observation, as I've indicated years ago. Or attention. The failure to account for attention as a force in nature seems obvious to me now, but hasn't always, obviously. A good tongue twister is crunchy country croutons. Would you like to enjoy the brusque flavor of crunchy country croutons? For the best country crunchy croutons, try crunchy country croutons. For the best country crunchy croutons, try crunchy country croutons. I wasn't going to point that out, but it's a good point to make, Jeremiah Fix. My thing isn't necessarily ordered in itself. I don't know. I have to think about that some more. That had not occurred to me at all. That's an insightful observation, Nick. I don't know if it's correct or not. I have to think about it some. I don't know. What do I look like? A physicist? I'm a philosopher. All that how to measure stuff, you guys figure that out. That stuff's beneath me. You mean beyond you, Eric? Yeah, okay, fine. This stuff's beyond me. Alright? I'm not that smart. I can't figure all that shit out. What are you still gonna do? Math? Come on now. I could get through some high school math classes, probably. With a ruler, Jeremiah Fix, obviously. How else does one measure things? Are either of these things out yet? Will you stop not being out yet? I'm feeling pretty fussy today, I guess. But I am feeling very glad that I pooped out all that poop. It makes me feel a lot better physically. Hmm. Well, I guess I'm out of things to say. I don't. Let's see what this other book is that I'm supposed to read. Let's look at it. Okay. How to get filthy rich in rising Asia. Hmm. I did not expect this. How to get filthy rich in rising Asia. We're measuring attention. Measure attention normally in minutes and seconds, you know? But if you're measuring it as a force, a physical force in the universe, I don't know how you measure it. It's something that you can measure as you can establish existentiality by measuring it in time, but that doesn't provide you any information about how it's distinct from time and what you're measuring that is distinct from time, right? So, Adam Kier, how are you? You say Eric, I say Adam. Adam. All right, now you go. Now it's your turn. Well, just because time is relative doesn't mean we can't use it to measure things. I mean, you gotta think about scale. So, I mean, I agree that being able to measure attention and time is useful for the question of how do we think of attention, but it's not useful for the question of how attention is another force in the universe. I agree with you that that's not useful for that purpose, which I tried to clarify when I initially provided that answer. But I get that that's not a very satisfying answer for a variety of reasons. I don't have a better answer for you. If I did, I'd give you a better answer. Believe me. I'll always try to give you the best answer I have. I don't have a good answer to that question. I'm not just withholding on you, okay? I Jeremiah Fix, I'm not disputing your point here either, okay? You raise a very valid critique. But I don't know. What do I look like? Socrates? I don't have the answer to everything. Especially when I'm not on any amphetamines. Right now, I'm about as answerful as the Question Society, which is to say, not very answerful. But I do have still more time to kill, apparently, before either The Great Cleric or Jujutsu Kaisen comes out. I'm looking forward to The Great Cleric because it's supposed to be a double episode, I believe. At least that's what I've read. They could be lying, you know. This is a question about the topology or structure of time. I mean, I agree that time and observation seem inexorably linked. Yeah, well, the death of Kim Jong Un's brother comprises murder most foul. So, just like the death of disco. People think disco died of natural causes. They're wrong. It was musicide. Let's not just muse about musicide. Let's raise awareness. You didn't really see anybody campaigning to lower awareness for something. I think that would be a good idea in general. Let's lower awareness of Except the question then becomes, of course, can you campaign to lower awareness without accidentally raising awareness? That's the real challenge, you see. Like, let's say I were to launch a counter campaign, a campaign to lower awareness about breast cancer. Would it require like a disinformation campaign where we put out fake documents saying breast cancer doesn't exist? It's all a hoax. I guess that's how you lower awareness about breast cancer. You have to figure out what color is the opposite of pink too. What color is the opposite of pink? Would you say it's like dark green? Dark green seems pretty opposite of pink. Because green kind of seems opposite of red, and black seems opposite of white. So I'm going to go dark green as the color that's opposite of pink. So people should wear dark green ribbons to lower breast cancer awareness. When asked what the ribbon's all about, they just say, not breast cancer. Oh, I make myself laugh. This season of Crunchyroll is really requiring a lot of patience with me. I don't really like waiting a lot, but I'm having to do a lot of waiting. Well, this hard sleepy week, which you might call it, Sleepy Week Duplo, It's overdue, much needed. I don't need to go back to sleep today again some more. I gotta return to a real baseline. And then, I'm not even sure if it's a good idea for me to continue doing amphetamines. Although I'm sure I'll end up getting my Vyvanse, but I don't know why. I seem to be happier without it, frankly. Like, I feel pretty happy right now, even though I'm not in the greatest of moods or whatever. I feel like happiness is right around the corner. It's easy to be happy here with Rachel. It doesn't take a lot of like self-help skill to be happy in this situation. But it's not really something either Rachel or I are accustomed to. We're kind of growing into it a little bit, I guess. Like just about everybody, we've spent so much of our life doing things we had to do for practical reasons that were far away from what we felt like doing. I don't know if you'd call this a test of hedonism or what, but um, oh, well, I haven't checked my email in a while, so I may check it today. You're coming to the same conclusion. No, I'm not getting rid of the retaining wall. I'm trying to get all the gray stuff off of it. I've gotten most of it off, but I still have some spots I haven't finished yet. I was looking at it when I was outside, actually thinking about start hammering on that. You're coming to the same conclusions about Adderall. Well, I mean, the thing is, I've been on this shit for such a long time, and every time I allow myself enough of a gap where I'm both not on it and not recovering from it anymore, it's like I feel happier than I ever do when I'm on it, really. You know. So that makes me really question my take in it at all. I also seem to be more productive actually when I'm not on it. Probably because you start getting this sleep deficit pretty quickly, starts to build, and then you just take it and you just like normal ish. So, it's like, do I really need to do in general substances other than just smoking weed? Probably not. I'm getting pretty old, you know? I feel like playing a sad song on the guitar and then calling it a string. Alright, so here's the sad song I want to play. I'm writing a song all about you. A true song as real as my tears. But you've no need to fear it, 'cause no one will hear it. Sad songs and waltzes aren't selling this year. I'll tell all about how you cheated. I'd like for the whole world to hear. I'd like to get even with you 'cause you're leaving. But sad songs and waltzes aren't selling this year. It's a good thing that I'm not a star. You don't know how lucky you are. For though my record may say it, no one will play it. Sad songs and waltzes aren't selling this year. There's a sad song. Here's a song I wrote when I was in a mood very much like I'm in right now. When I didn't write sad songs and waltzes. That was a Willie Nelson song. I wrote this song. When I was younger, it seemed that everything gleamed. I don't know what happened to me, but I've lost that sense of urgency, and I don't think that I'll ever see it again. If you follow my lead, you'll discover I'm loster than you. And you'll want to know the way to get back out to wherever it was you thought you knew. And tomorrow will be just like today. I'll be lost then too. It's a matter of mood as much as a matter of will. And the things I do and the direction I point to still seem a part of me. The departed leave. And I wonder if I'll ever see them again. Bumpity da 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 da, bumpity da 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 do. Bumpity da 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 dee da 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 da. Well, that expresses my mood right now nicely. That's exactly how I feel right now. I'll see you all later. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.